Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chu and today we're going to be learning how to process vocals using only stock FL Studio plugins. Now while I am using the best DAW on the planet and you may be using something supremely inferior such as Ableton or Logic, fret not my friend, for these techniques are universally applicable and all these plugin types can be found in any DAW. This video is sponsored by Lalal AI, which is how I was able to get the vocals for today's video. But we'll talk more about that later because we've got to get started. There's a lot we have to cover in a short amount of time. Drop a like on this video if you end up learning something new or just enjoy the content. And be sure to smack that subscribe button if it's still red so I can buzz away in your pocket whenever I have some fire new content for you. In order to make this as simple as possible, I have divided this tutorial into 3 easy to navigate sections: cleaning, compression and balance, and effects. There will be timestamps in the description so that you can move from topic to topic with ease. Alright, let's begin. Cleaning. So today we are going to be working with this vocal acapella from Logic's song What's Up featuring Big Sean. The first thing we are going to do is... Wait, my G. Are you really just gonna breeze past the fact that you have a pristine vocal separation of that song? I mean, I searched on YouTube, my dude. There is nothing there. How did you get that? Oh yeah, I got it from Lalal. Lalal? Yeah, Lalal. I got it from Lalal. You see, Lalal is an AI-driven audio separation software that uses a bunch of fancy tech that I won't even try to explain to clearly and cleanly rip vocals from any music track. But its usefulness doesn't stop there. If you want just the instrumental, it can do that too. As a matter of fact, it gives you both each time you run the program. And it can also rip sound from movie clips while completely removing any background music. It actually truly does blow my mind that there's a tool out there like this. But that is not even the most mind-boggling part about it. The craziest thing is that it's free to use for up to 3 songs for a total of 10 minutes, meaning you can literally go rip some audio right now from your favorite song and follow along with this tutorial. Then, after you've fallen in love with Lalal like me, you can get the very reasonably priced paid version for even more track separation credits. This software is gonna be a real game changer for producers. Most of us, myself included, build our brands and catalogs by remixing popular tracks. With Lalal, you won't have to limit yourself to the acapellas you can find on YouTube anymore. With this software, any song that you want to remix is gonna be yours for the taking. Find your creativity today. Click that link in the description to claim your free credits and get downloading. Okay, back to the tutorial. So this Vox has a bit of processing done to it already because, well, duh. It's from a finished song and Lalal does a pretty good job of ripping the audio without distorting the quality too much. Because of that, the first step for cleaning, denoising, has already been done for us. But I still want to show you this step because it is very important and can be difference making in a lot of instances. I'll use this audio clip.
Mary had a little lamb.
To demonstrate how you denoise audio. You see, denoising is the process of removing background noise from your audio. This is especially useful if you're recording in a place that is not a professional studio. It makes it so that you can worry a bit less about treating your recording space because you can treat the audio to a fair degree using this technique in post. This will have your artist's audio sounding clean and crisp and will allow you to compress and apply effects much easier. So, to denoise vocal audio in FL Studio, you want to open your vocals up in De-essing and find a section where there is no talking, singing, or rapping. Ideally, you want this section to only have the noise from your recording space. So it is a good idea to tell your artist to leave a bit of dead space at the beginning or end of the recording so that you have an accurate profile for the denoising algorithm to run against. Once you have selected this dead space section, click this little toothbrush icon up here in De-essing and then select the option Acquire Noise Profile. This will take a couple of seconds and when it's done, the algorithm will be fully acquainted with what you consider to be noise in the audio. Then select your entire audio waveform. Make sure the entire thing is selected. Come back to this toothbrush again and this time select the option Accept. Now the algorithm will run across the entire audio and remove all the artifacts which it has identified as noise. Keep in mind, this isn't going to be exactly perfect, and it still does depend to a fair degree on how good of a job you did at recording in the first place. But this is still a really good way of getting home recorded audio to sound a great deal better. Just listen to that difference.
Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb.
Now, you can run this process a few times, but beware that after the second or third time, it will start to severely diminish the quality of your audio overall. So please use this strategy tactfully. The next step of this process is equalization. For this, we can move back to our acapella box. Before we do anything, we will level the audio against the instrumental. We can always adjust this later, but it's good to find a starting point where the vox sounds clear on top of the beat without totally overpowering it.
Down and out, never know who's really down.
Bitch, I'm the one I consistently prove. I stuck to the code like a toss dice on my off night. I left the doubts and now I'm alright, yeah. I'm a new me, they haven't seen this shit like Vader wearing all white. Look at that. People that pin it on me like, trying to put it on me, how many times that shit went up? So blessed, I might just make a whole.
Now we can get into the EQ. The first thing you're going to want to do is open a Fruity Parametric EQ2. Your initial objective is to remove all the nonsense noise from the audio so that it sounds clearer and does not interfere with the frequencies of the backing instrumental. So to start, we'll set band 1 to a high pass so that we can equalize out some of the unneeded low end. I'll increase the steepness just a bit so that I can increase my precision, but I won't make it too steep because that might make my audio sound a bit unnatural. I have found that it is best to move between 50 and 100 Hz when using this high passing technique on vocal audio, but it will ultimately depend on the situation and the artist, so you will have to play it by ear from time to time.
Show 'em out, never know who's really down. It's just down and out. Never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about? Oh no, who let him in? I'ma show.
Next, we'll do a bit of subtractive EQ. I've noticed that a lot of vocals sound really nasally around the 300 to 400 Hz range, so I'll usually do a sweep pass there first to see what I can take out.
Don't get no closer. I try and told you, bitch, way the closest. High power shows us. We never froze up. You lucky if you get this year's closer. Put a pin on me like, trying to put it on me, how many times that shit went up? So blessed, I might just.
There is something to note about this sweeping technique that a lot of producers tend to use. When you do it like this, a lot of things are going to sound bad because you're literally boosting the frequencies to the highest range that your DAW will allow. Of course, you're going to hear some strange artifacts and even a bit of clipping. Instead of doing that, try to do subtle boost. Really take your time to listen for what truly sounds offensive and then work to remove that without distorting the rest of your audio too much. Some tips here are that vocals get a lot of their strength from the lower end, so if you're going to EQ in this area, be careful not to overdo it so that you don't weaken the overall sound and the tone of the artist.
My life, toss dice on my off night. I left the doubts and now I'm alright, yeah. I'm a new me, they haven't seen this shit like Vader wearing all white. Look, I detonate you, hold it down, I levitate. I like it when
vocals get most of the clarity on the higher end, so if you're going to EQ here, take care not to distort the sharpness of the vox.
you niggas hold up, don't get no closer. I try and told you, bitch, we the closest. High power shows us. We never froze up. You lucky if you get this year's closer. Put a pin on me like, trying to put it on me, how many times that shit?
One more note that I would like to make is that you want to do some of this EQing with the instrumental playing because your goal is to get the vox to sound good in relation to the instrumental. It won't matter how well you treat the vocals if, when the beat is playing, it doesn't blend.
Oh no, who let him in? I'ma show 'em out. Never know who's really down. It's just I feel. I got so much in the bank that I just called my lawyer to work on my will. Hold up, wait a second, chill. Hold up, wait a second, chill. I mean the Maryland, DC, Virginia with J. Cole, he mean it a veil. Don't do this shit.
Balance and compression. Compression is basically when you even the levels of the vocals to make them sound bolder overall. In naturally recorded, untreated vocals, there will be a lot of variation. Some parts will sound loud and then some parts may be a bit quieter. This is because humans can't talk, sing, or rap at a constant volume and frequency, even in the same take. Then when you take into consideration the fact that you will most likely be working with multiple takes, it makes sense that you would need a technique to bring all parts of the vox within the same range of volume. This is where compression comes in. To begin, we're gonna open a Fruity limiter under the EQ we just did, and this will be the first of two limiters we end up using. The first one will be used to cut the highest peaks of the audio so that the second limiter doesn't have to deal with any clipping. So for this limiter, first put it in compression mode. Start to play the audio and lower the threshold until it is cutting off just the very tops of the waveform. The white trace will show you where the compression is actually happening. Remember, for this first limiter, you don't want too much compression, so there shouldn't be too much going on in the white trace area. Again, just enough to cut those peaks. Next, we'll turn the ratio up to 3:1. For some reason, I always use a ratio between 2:1 and 3:1. I honestly couldn't tell you why. It sort of just works for me. And I can already hear a neckbeard commenter berating me for not knowing, and if that's you, I have this to say. Thanks for the viewership, loser. If you're such a good engineer, stop watching YouTube videos and start your own school, you fucking dickhead. Anyways, yeah, I love this ratio range and I really recommend it if you want to get your vocals sitting nicely on top of that instrumental. Now we can open the second limiter, which will act as our main compressor. After we put it in compression mode, we can start much in the same way that we did for the first limiter, only this time we're going to be bringing that threshold a bit further down. You want to listen for the point where the volume stops fluctuating so much, but you don't want to push it to the point where it distorts the audio. Then we'll set our ratio again to 3:1.
Where you been? What you know about? Oh no. Who let him in? I'ma show him out. Never know who's really down to just.
Next, we'll adjust the attack. The attack controls how fast the compression comes on once it meets a peak that it needs to level out. Ideally, you want to increase your attack at least a little bit because you don't want the beginning sound of your vocals to be totally compressed. This is because it can make it really hard to hear the vox clearly if you end up doing something like that. So you adjust the attack to where you can hear everything clearly while still getting the amount of compression that you desire and that will make the vocals sound crisp. This is something you have to play by ear, but with a bit of practice, you'll start to get the hang of it. Next, we'll adjust the release. This controls how fast the compression releases or lets go of the vocal. Again, this is something you have to play by ear. Just adjust it to where it sounds nice. You're a musician, trust yourself. Lastly, before we move on to effects, we're gonna add one more EQ just to brighten or darken some areas of the vocal. This is pretty intuitive. When you boost lower frequencies, you will get more vocal depth and a fuller sound. Just be careful not to muddy up your vox in the process.
Really down and out, never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you? Who's really down? I'm like,
Bitch, I'm the one I consistently prove. I stuck to the code like a finishing move. I hit a groove that they can't undo. And over the years, all I did was improve. Like down life, toss dice, on my off night. I left the doubts and now I'm.
And when you boost higher frequencies, you increase vocal clarity and overall brightness. Just be sure not to introduce any high-pitched artifacts that might offend the ear of the listener.
A nigga that's trying to innovate. I've been in ways to imitate, they renegade. You niggas hold up, don't get no closer. I try and told you, bitch, we the closest. High power shows us, we never froze up. You lucky.
A quick note about de-essing. Before we move on, I want to talk about de-essing. De-essing is the process of removing those harsh sounds you hear when someone says a word that starts with the letter S into a microphone. These sounds are called sibilants, and you absolutely want to get rid of them whenever possible. De-essing can also include removing plosives, which is the harsh sound you hear in recordings when someone says a word that starts with the letter P. There are a lot of good free and paid VSTs that can do this automatically for you. I won't be using a de-esser in this video because the audio we are using was already de-essed, but I still want to provide you with a list of my go-to free de-essers, which you'll be able to find in the description below. If you all ever want or need a separate tutorial on de-essing, just let me know. You know I got you. Okay, this last step covers effects, and it is actually pretty simple. To begin, we're going to route the audio to a second track. With our vocal track selected, we'll click this little arrow icon on any available and empty mixer track. This technique is also referred to as bussing your audio out. From here, we can add any effects we want, such as reverb, distortion, and chorus, directly onto the vocal bus. The reason this is a good way to apply effects to vocals is that it makes it easier to control the levels of the effect. It also makes effects automation much simpler. And you can add things on top of the effects like EQ to create even more control over them. So for this vocal, I'll add some reverb.
and out, never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about? Oh no, who let him in and out, never know who's.
And then I'll add some EQ to tame the frequencies.
Where you been? What you know about? Oh no, who let him in? And out, never know.
From here, I'll just adjust the fader on the vocal bus until the leveling of the effects versus the vox sounds good to me.
Never know who's really and out, never know who's really down.
So here's the vocal with no reverb.
And out, never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about?
And then here's the vocal with reverb.
And out, never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about? Oh no. Who let him in? I'ma show him out.
You can take this process one step further by adding another compressor on the back of your effects chain. This technique is called parallel compression because you have two compressors running parallel on two mixer tracks. I usually use pretty similar settings on this compressor as the second one that we set for the main vocals, with the exception that I'll probably lower the threshold a bit more. I can't go in depth about parallel compression here, but I will be doing a separate tutorial on it sometime in the future because it's actually a technique that I use a lot for melodies, and I would like to explain to you all how you can take full advantage of it. But all you need to know for right now is that this will make your vocal effects even more tight, crisp, and clean, and it will add a professional edge to your sound. Once you've set your compressor, just level the main vocals against the effects track using the faders until you find a balance that is comfortable for you and the artist. So here is the bus reverb from before without the parallel compression.
Never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about? Oh no. Who let him in? I'ma show him out. Never
And then here it is with the parallel compression.
know, never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about? Oh no. Who let him in? I'ma show him out.
So yeah, we're basically done. I just want to do a quick bypass test so you can hear the difference that we made. Here's the song with no effects.
Now, never know who's really down. I'm like, what's up, ho? Where you been? What you know about? Oh no. Who let him in? I'ma show.
And then here's the song with our vocal processing applied.
Bitch, I'm the one I consistently prove. I stuck to the code like a finishing move. I hit a groove that they can't undo. And over the years, all I did was improve. Like down life, toss dice.
Now remember, we worked with vocals that already had a bit of processing done to them, so the difference is not as great as it could have been, but it is still clearly noticeable. Shout out to Lalal for making a program so good that it even gets the processing for you. Fucking fire. Further, this processing would be difference making on vocals that had not already been treated, so keep that in mind. This is how you can turn an iPhone recording into an actual song without the need for expensive equipment or an engineer who thinks too highly about the value of their services. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. I appreciate you more than you could ever understand. I really hope you got a ton of value out of this. Feel free to ask me any questions you have in the comment section below, and I'll do my very best to give you an answer. Drop a like if you learned something new, or just end up enjoying the content. And be sure to smack that subscribe button so I can let you know the next time I have some fire content for you. I'll be answering comments for the whole next hour, so please blow me up. Have an amazing day. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Peace.